everyone will pick out Morgan as the standout from it, but I guess almost is the judgment of success of what the academy is doing is not necessarily Morgan. It's Ryan Giles being on the bench recently. It's Elliot Watt and Benny Ashley-Seal playing first team football this season. That's the more players, not just the one. It's the ones that people might not necessarily be talking about.
I mean, getting one through is almost impossible in the present climate of football in the Premier League. So we're actually now a Premier League club as well. We're not a Championship club. So to have an 18-year-old boy in the squad, or two in last week at Cardiff, actually two involved at 18 in the squad, I think is a massive sort of pat on the back for everybody at the football club. That's from the academy, obviously, to everybody, but most of all the first team who actually trust them. But yeah, I think that we're just trying to, as I've always said, have a conveyor belt of players that, we're so lucky that, on most days there'll be two or three of the young under-23 training with the first team, sometimes more, sometimes 7s and 8s. So that connection of, having a vision's important, but that's easy to have a vision, but actually making it live every day and having young players feeling there is a pathway, I think is really hard to create and make sure it happens every day. But here we're so lucky that, Nuno trusts what the staff are doing with the young players, but also, most of all, I think the difficult thing is showing the trust in the players.
Is that what's different? Is that what helps? That from the first team head coach all the way through, everybody buys into it?
Yeah, I think that, as I said before, I think there's some fantastic English talent at the moment in this country, but the key is the opportunity. And without opportunity, it doesn't matter how good you are. There's a lot of, there's some clubs that win the youth cup every year. And I see some fantastic players, but they don't seem to get the breakthrough through as probably as we do here, where, like I said before, from top to bottom there is a real connection where, there's daily communication with staff about young players, the daily communication about, right, I want, and it's not give me a centre back, it's, can we have Max, can we have Sadu, can we have Pedro? So there's that communication every day where the manager knows who the players are.
Because that's an interesting point as well. Some of the names you mentioned there, it's not necessarily players that have been here since 8 years old, like Morgan and Ryan have. Mm-hmm. There are different levels of player that you will come in and produce from different stages.
Yeah, I think our job is, I work for Wolverhampton Wanderers firstly, and my job is to obviously help to recruit the best talent. Now, if that talent comes from Portugal or Spain, or Denmark, I still think it's the same. I still think they're our players. Obviously, as an Englishman working in an English academy, it's important that we also develop our own. But, I'm not blind enough to think that the talent's only here. Our job is to sort of source it as much as I possibly can. In the last probably 3 months, I've been in Belgium, I've been in Bulgaria, I've been in Poland. So, do you know what I mean? In Spain. So I am out there looking for the potential talent that's going to take us to the next level.
Because that's the key thing, isn't it? I've known you long enough to know that it's not about celebrating necessarily where you are. It's about getting to the next level and to keep improving.
Yeah, you've heard me say it a long time. I don't want to be in 10 years saying, let's still talk about Morgan and his success. I want to be talking about, in a year's time, the next one, and then another year's time, the next one. Like I said, that conveyor belt of players that we're producing and working hard daily. And people do work really hard in academies, long hours, but we see the results of our hard work, and that's what we continue want to see.
So, I mean, this is a tough question, but how do you keep improving? What is the next step?
I think I think that's something that we're always asking ourselves. We're always evolving in the programme, in the coaching. As I said earlier, looking at what the first team's doing. Their style of play is very individual, very different. We can't change every time the manager changes, but obviously we look and go, actually, there's some real merit in what the first team do. There's a real quality and style of play that everybody appreciates, whether that's in Wolverhampton or that's everybody around football. So it's something to really learn from. If we don't use that in our own programme, then I think we'd be pretty stupid. And then in terms of facilities, in terms of coaching programme, in terms of hours, in terms of taking the boys on tournaments and exposing them to different football, I think we're always looking at ways of improving. This year we've improved our psychology in terms of more staff, in terms of develop them as footballers, but also protecting them as young people as well. So we're continually trying to develop the academy and the programme. And I think our job is to catch up to the first team as quick as we possibly can.